Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Anna, can you please share the first slide?
Just a sec, I thought I did. 1 sec.
Let's check the connection. How everyone is hearing me. Let me know where you guys are coming from, which countries are you from. Can you write something? Oh.
New York, Ukraine, UK, Washington. Oh, the whole world is with us.
That's great. That's really nice. Dubai. Cool. Los Angeles. Great.
Oh, I got one friend stuck in Los Angeles for COVID. I bet it's better than most places. France, international party.
Okay, before we start, we wanted to ask you if you guys already have your pitching deck ready, or you just want to start the preparation. And have you already raised capital, or this is your first experience? So we understand how professional you are and which language should we use. Is it your first time making the pitch, or is it your 10th speech, or is it your 100th speech? Or you want to listen to some very special tips, or you want to know everything? Can you please share with us? First pitch deck. Okay, great.
First timer.
Everything from first to later stages. Very cool.
Yeah, we're gonna cover a few topics, but
Great.
Early stage or later stage, the structure and the information you have to provide for your investor probably the same, just a few slides difference. First time. We made 10-12 pitches. Wow, cool. Use English. Would like any and all info. First stage. We do use English, I guess.
Does it sound like English or? Okay, so let me start the introduction. First, I would like to introduce Astra Global. I will say a few words about our services, and then I will pass the word to Anna, and Anna will do the presentation for 40 minutes. Then we'll have Q&A session, and please stay to the end, because at the end of Q&A session, we have a surprise for you, a very good document that will help you with creating a pitch further. Anna, can you please return my slide?
Second, yeah.
So about Astra Global is an international business development company. So what do? Mainly we connect investors with highly qualified startups. And basically, we do several services. We prepare a full set of documents for you, so we can help you with pitch deck, with financial model, we can help you with valuation, and also we can do warm introductions to investors. We have also a number of pitching events, which we will also send you information about. You will be in our list of people who will receive invitations. And our strong side is we have a very good network of investors on both sides of the ocean, both in the US and in Europe. Me personally, I'm a lawyer by training. I did private equity and venture capital for about 20 years already, first as a lawyer and then as a business developer. And also I I studied at Columbia Business School and at London Business School. I did Global Executive MBA program. So basically, we also do a lot of events. So through all these events and through my network during my studies, we have good access to leading VCs. So now Anna will introduce herself and we'll talk about the pitching. Thank you.
So a little bit about myself. I'm from startup scene as well. I have founded and launched my startup in trucking. It was a shipment marketplace where we connect and matched shippers with truckers, and it was based in Russia. So I've raised a bit more than $2 million for my startup in 2017. It was two-stage investment, and in 2019 my company already had 3 million in revenues. In 2019 I sold the company. I exited to the strategic investor. It was like one of the largest logistics groups in Russia, and moved to the UK. Like overall, I was engaged in client base and investor base in my company. I've involved. Well, I've raised the round, and also I was the one who's done the business development. So I attracted a lot of clients to the marketplace, and the largest of them are like big international companies like Leroy Merlin, Sunbev, Unilever, Danone, and 30 more. And they all used our company, our marketplace, to find the shippers to get the products to you guys. And before that, I was involved in finance, pretty much different space that logistics. But it always comes with the startups. You have to change and you have to apply the same rules to the different industries. So after I exited and moved to the UK, I wanted to find out more about the UK market. And basically what I did is I tried to practice, and practice comes with the projects. So I was involved in business development of startups. I helped them to enter the UK scene. They were from Russia, from Cyprus, from Singapore. And some of the names you can see on the slide: it's Summit Substance, KYC and AML, Atlas Biomed is DNA tests, Genix is about DNA, Data Awesome is about Fintech, and Promobot is about robots. So I applied the same approach to very different spaces, and basically 3 of the 5 startups you can see, I helped raise them money with the pitches. Overall, I helped raise about 15 million investment up to date, which includes my 2 million for my startup. So happy to share some insights which are based on the practice, because I've done it myself several times, and I've done it for the companies I worked with. And also I would like to cover some information, not just about the slides, but the verbal communication. I believe that verbal communication is 90% success of any communication. So let's talk about the goal of any presentation. What do you think is or are the goals of the presentation? Please write down in the chat. Engagement to secure funding. Okay, can you secure funding with the presentation? I'm not sure. I think you can secure funding in negotiation, in talking to person, but the presentation, I don't think the goal is to secure the funding, investment opportunity, to get a meeting. Yeah, to get a meeting probably. Yeah, it's closer. Interested to learn more. Raise credibility. Yeah, curiosity. Nice. Okay, well, I believe that like these can be all of you, like you're all right, but you can engage, share info. We can all gather it to 3 main verbs. So the presentation has to inform, It has to convince and it has to activate. Basically everything what you mentioned about the meeting, raise credibility, curiosity and stuff. So with the inform, you have to show how big is the problem and how big is the market. Give some astonishing facts, some insight that I haven't thought they are in the market. So the investor will say, oh my God, I haven't thought about it, but these guys are right. They have done their research and wow, this is interesting. This looks like a promising market. So convince, you can convince with the 3T. I refer to this as 3T. It's the team, the traction, and the technology. So you have to involve this information in your pitch. And it's also to activate. So the activation is call to action. You have to say why you send this presentation, why you're pitching your startup, whether it's for money, whether it's for help me with something else like clients, partners, introductions. But don't be kind of make sure you involve the activation part in your pitch as well. Also, we're going to share some surprise with you in the end. So please make it to the end, which is going to help you a lot to involve this in your presentation. So taking into account what I've said before, so there is a structure that involves all these three goals. The first one is we have to talk about the problem. The second is you have to talk about the technology, or I call it magic, how you tackle these problems and how you tackle it. It's so different from other players in the market. It's also the market opportunity, the traction, of course, the competition. If there is no competition, there is no market. The team, as I said, one of the three magic T's, team, technology, and traction, and milestones, pipeline. And basically the A slide should be, what do you want from me? So the investor and other audience will remember just, 1 to 3 things from your pitch. You're probably going to remember 1 to 3 things from my pitch right now. So whether it's on paper or verbal, don't overload it with text or slides or information. I suggest you use as many infographics and pictures as you can, and put as little text as you can. And let's talk about problem first. So what is your unique insight? It's probably sounds similar to what problem are you solving, but the bar is higher. So what one really wants to understand is what you know about the problem that everyone doesn't. What examples are like something very surprising, like have you thought that cows produce more CO2 than planes and ships altogether? Or something like okay, if you pitch it on the stage, you can say, okay, imagine this hole is the world, and everyone who sits behind third row, people who doesn't have access to water, they can drink just once a week, and that's how the world lives now. 2/3 of the whole population doesn't have access to any clean water. Something very surprising that people would like to tweet. And well, so the problem should be big enough. Make sure you put some numbers, whether it's from your research or you can research them in any, like Google it, just use some data from research companies like Big Four, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, or what's the name of another one? Gartner. So make sure the problem is big enough. So it's not just about you who experience the problem or your friends. It actually exists in the world. Oops, 1 second. I still struggle with this. So, and to understand the problem, you have to actually talk to real people. So if you experience, for example, some kind of issue, and you believe that everyone else experienced it, prove it, talk to people. So it's called customer development interview, and there's a specific way you have to do it. For example, you can't ask questions about the future or about your product. You have to ask questions, open questions about the past, how people used to do something, how people used to tackle the problem you are focusing on, and why it's a problem for them. I recommend to read such cool books like Steve Blank's and Rob Fitzpatrick's Mom Test, and please validate your idea before doing any pitch. Validate with customer development and market size. And well, we come to the main stage. So the next part we focus on our page, it's what's your solution, what's the magic, and why it's unique, how and what helps you to achieve, do better, gain more money, or decrease expenses. Let's try to express now, what do you do in one sentence? Please write down, how would you express your company in just one sentence? Imagine you're at the conference, you see your dream investor, I know, Tim Draper, he's standing there open, and you have a chance to come over and say in one sentence what to do. Hey, Tim. Help humans actualize their goals. Okay, cool. But I still don't get what you do. I mean, is it a service? Is it a product? What humans, specific segment? Personal trainer, coach. Oh, okay. This I can understand. Bring light in the life of dementia patients. Again, how you do it, why it's better than existing solutions, consultant to evolve business models into competitive and disruptive models. Okay, but who's your target audience? For whom you're doing it? For startups, for bigger companies? Prevention and cure of legal, oh my God, that's a lot. Prevention and cure of legal issue for the everyman. Very complicated. Who is everyman? Protect mothers and newborns. How? In what way? Why the need protection? We grow and bring natural food. Okay, but like there are a lot of people who do this. Why you better? Why should I invest in you? Prevention and cure of legal issues for the everyman. It's I have read it. We aim to unite parents, educational staff, and children to all work together to help children develop self-confidence, social, emotional competence. Okay, yeah, nice, great. So you're doing a kind of social network. Don't be afraid to put a kind of a simple description of what you're doing. It's a social network. It's a SaaS. It's a service. Drug that brings light to the mean shepherds. Okay, gotcha. So actually, there is a hint for you to help you to say what you do in one sentence and make it as fast as possible. So, for example, our product or service helps you put your customer segment, for example, dementia patients who wants to, I don't know, live longer life, have a happy life, whatever, have a normal life, by what actually you invented, what you're gonna apply, how your product helps, kind of avoid, reduce, use the verb here, to, and you talk about customer segments. For example, if we're talking about Uber, it's our ride-hailing app helps people who needs a taxi, avoid waiting long, avoid waiting for a long time to get to one place to another, something like that. We're unique with cost management. Well, so do you want to try to express your product or your service again with the structure showed? I think it's going to be a good exercise. Because you're gonna, I mean, if you haven't yet, you're gonna say this sentence, I believe, like hundreds or thousands of times. So just memorize it. Everyone's gonna ask you, oh, what you do, what your company does, and you have to provide just one sentence that explains it in a simple and concise way. So please go ahead and write down how would you change it, like with the structure you see. We bring conscious beauty to your doorstep. Is it a product, a service? Okay, is it like, what is it? Psychology session? Conscious beauty, what is it? Drug that helps people with dementia who wants to get back to their life, what they have lived till date with no physical and mental embarrassment. Excellent, cool. Yeah, now I understand it's a drug. Wow, cool. We have biotech here. It's a product. Okay, so make sure you say what it is. Okay, our organic cosmetics helps people who wants to have beautiful skin by, I don't know, by using natural products to avoid chemical something. I don't know why people use organic cosmetics. But I guess you probably get what I'm talking about. Anyone else wants to try? My platform prevents and cures legal issues for small medium companies who want immediate legal answers by providing legal assistance on demand. So it's a on-demand marketplace. I can ask a question and somebody answer it. Okay, cool. We can just say my on-demand marketplace of legal professionals helps to blah, blah, blah. Our virtual assistant helps train humans who want to achieve certain goals within certain time frames by deconstructing, organizing actions and events to achieve those goals. Can you make it simpler? Can you give me an example, team, with your thing? Actually, probably it's better to talk about the case. I mean, tell me about the flow of how virtual assistant can help me, so I understand where it's applicable. Okay, I think we're ready to go further, right? So the next stage, the next big question, after you said in one sentence what your product does. Okay, we have one more answer. Our SaaS helps companies protect their financial data by internalizing best practices for security. What is internalizing? Can you use a simple word here? Everyone understand? I guess you're doing a kind of a consultancy based SaaS. Okay, ready to go further, I guess. Providing best for security, providing structure for protecting data. Our products and services help parents and educational staff who wants their children to develop self-confidence, social, emotional competencies, resilience, apps and boyfriend courses, apps and consulting. It's consulting, okay. It's consulting. You're talking about SaaS, okay. So just say we are a consulting company, and we help our companies, our clients, protect their financial data by utilizing or by best approaches, best practices there are on the security market. And you can add like which prevents them to from losses of billions of dollars due to unsecure financial data. Our products and services help parents. Okay, cool, nice. Yeah, I think we're ready to go further. So after we talk about what our product is, and we can communicate it in one sentence, which is, and please use a really simple language, and kind of label it, whether it's a product, a service, a SaaS, a consultant company. Make it as simple as possible. Don't try to make it like sound as wow, because people would just ignore it if they don't understand. And unfortunately, psychology says most of people are not comfortable with saying they're stupid or saying they don't understand. They're just gonna okay, nod the head, but and go further and ignore you, unfortunately. So the next slide is about the market. It's very important. So how big is it? And there are two ways to get market size. If you enter in a pre-existing space, like small business banking or property market, or medical devices market, what we had here, kind of psychology, children market, you can research it. There are a lot of publicly available market researches from companies like PwC, Deloitte, Gartner, Forrester, McKinsey, UI, and you can use some statistics databases like Statista, just Google it, or OECD data bank. It's a data bank of European countries. If you create a totally new product and there is no existing market like Slack or like Facebook, social media, social network like 10 years ago, you can estimate the number of customers that would want your product and approximate how much you could charge them. So the formula is like you multiply your average check to the number of customers for entire segment. And let's talk about like very basic approaches you can use to estimate your market. So we have here TAM. TAM is total addressable market. Basically, it's the whole market value in the world of your industry. For example, if you introduce a new type of organic coffee, or like it has been mentioned, organic cosmetics. Let's talk the organic cosmetics example, as we have somebody here from here. You introduce a new type of cosmetics, so your addressable market is everyone who use the cosmetics. So basically, it's going to be mostly women in the whole world. Then we take the serviceable available market. So if you produce your cosmetics only in the US, your serviceable market will be US. And probably you're going to target kind of high-end customer. So you're going to make like a luxury organic cosmetics, for example. So your serviceable addressable market is luxury, premium US customer who uses cosmetics. And then it's SOM. SOM is serviceable and obtainable market. Yeah, so you have some competition. Organic cosmetics is kind of a red ocean. There are lots of other players in the market. And if there's very large number of players, so you probably will target 2 to 5% of the whole market. And it is going to be your SOM. So 2 to 5% of luxury organic cosmetics produced in the US. That's your SOM. There might be some mistakes in understanding your market. If you're doing something like for example, when you just launch, you target one specific market. If we're talking about Uber, it targeted the ride-hailing market, the taxi market, but eventually it evolved to, you know, whole transportation market, because it has trucking, it has delivery. It's not about taxi. So the total addressable market has expanded largely. So the first round Uber raised, they have small valuation due to their addressable market they chose. But at the late stage, they actually showed kind of the whole transportation market, which make them valuation expand. I have an example here for you to get you understand more about how to calculate the TAM, SUM, and SOM. So let's talk about WeWork. So the overall TAM calculated for this set of 40 nations where WeWork is present is $1,353 million, as you see. What I did is I took all the countries that WeWork is present, and then it's like 35 members of OECD, like the most developed in the business terms, in small medium business terms countries, because WeWork targets small medium business companies. And then I took the number of jobs in service market, because mostly WeWork is used by people who need co-working, and it's a service sector, it's a front desks. And then I got the proportion of companies that have up to 9-10 people in the company. So you can see in the second row the percentage of companies with up to 9 people employed. So this is probably the target market for WeWork, because like larger companies prefer to stay in the office, a big one, dedicated office. And this is the number of companies who has more than 10 employees. Probably WeWork expanded to a bigger office space, so we're gonna take some proportion of those as well. And then I adjusted the prices of WeWork office rent, which is from $300 to $600 average, by the purchasing power of people in these countries. So for US it's 100%, and for China it's less by 40% than US. So I adjusted the prices that WeWork can charge their clients in the countries, and that's how I got the total addressable market in those countries for WeWork, and sum it up to 1.3 billion. 1.3 trillion, sorry, it's in the millions, figures in millions. Then we're going to calculate the sum, serviceable addressable market. So what I did here is basically I talk about competition. There are like 10 other co-workings, and also there's offices, big spaces. So WeWork is not the only option. Probably WeWork is mostly popular with millennials and with startups. So and they're gonna be present in cities and innovation hubs. So taking this into mind, I think in my estimation that WeWork can take 12% of the market. So I multiplied 12% onto the overall total addressable market we got here. Oops. And the number is 168 billion. So this is the WeWork service market. That's what they can get. I mean, ideally, if they have 100% of the market. And then we're gonna take like 20% of the serviceable market. This is what this is the probably estimation of the revenue the company can get eventually. I believe that it's going to be 20 to 25% because I mean, WeWork has a great, used to have at least a great reputation and great growth. And there is no other co-working company that can be compared to WeWork and WeWork's pros. So if we take the projections, I mean, how we can check whether we estimated our numbers correctly, we can take the revenues of the company, which was 3.5 billion in 2009, and apply their growth rates, project the revenues for the next years, applying their growth rate, which is 102% for the last 3 years. I mean, coronavirus has done its job. It's not going to be the same. Probably they're going to have losses. We're going to multiply it and see that in 3 years' time, they probably will be somewhat in their market. They're going to gain their serviced obtainable market. Okay, the next big slide is traction. I hope you're all with me now. I know it's a bit complicated, but we're going to help you prepare for the pitch. We're going to share some gift for you that will help you to calculate all this, I promise. So the next one is traction. Very important, especially if you're not, I mean, in any stage, but if you're not in a seed stage or pre-seed stage, you have to elaborate here a lot. Like talk about conversions, talk about business models and financials. So what actually investor is interested to see your metrics. Even if you just started, you have an idea, they want to see how fast you progress, how fast you develop. And to show that, you probably have to show that you have done something, whether it's just a landing and you got few clients, whether it's customer development interviews and you got first inquiries, but you have to show something. And the more you show, the better. And it's not about the numbers. Nobody interested in like your revenue as it is, like 100,000 millions, whatever. What is interesting is about your conversions. So what's your CPA? What's your conversion from user to paying user? What's your average check? What's your retention rates? You have to know your unit economics and make sure that unit economics is positive. Another big question is, what's your business model? I mean, we have lots of different services and products here. So how are you going to sell to your customers? Is your check is okay with your kind of a business model? If, for example, if you are a SaaS business and you have a freemium model, so you have to think about sales, that you won't be able to employ a direct salesperson because you have a free product, so there is no money to pay the salary for the sales team. So make sure your business model is coherent with your with your unit economics, that you have money to pay people, that you will be able to break even in some day, and you think about monetization and focus on one way of monetization. I mean, there are startups that trying to, I mean, if they don't know how they will earn money in the future, they just got the user base, they trying to put everything in one slide, like we're gonna charge them ads, we're gonna do the product placements, we're gonna do these, that. Just focus on one most promising ways of monetizing your product. For the business model, you can use the canvas. It's very good thing. You can see the Uber's business canvas, so it helps you to structure your partners, your activities, your costs, your channels, how you're going to make money, what your customer is. It's just a good visualization tool and a good exercise to do. You can just Google it, business model canvas, download and use it for future reference. Another big slide, it's competition. If there is no competition, there is no market, and you have to show like why why your product is better. I mean, you have to do your research before starting your business. Like knowing your competition, your market, and talking to your future customers is essential to start any startup. Sometimes, in the rare occasion, you're probably going to create a market. Well, they're going to be an example of Google, I guess. There were no Google and Yahoo. There were like very low competition when they started. So they were like market creators, but it's a very rare occasion. So probably where you now, there are already other players on the arena. So make sure you understand your pros, why you're better. And you can't say it's a price because we're cheaper, because it's not a competition advantage. Because your competitors can, see that you're there and make a price lower. What you have to state is probably you have to focus on the technology. This is a true benefit because technology is very hard to replicate, and probably reputation, brand, if you have any, some early early tractions that are better than your players, like the average check or your metrics, your conversions, and make sure you have at least 3 competitors to show and compare. And final, but very important, the team. So make sure you show how many people already working on your startup, how long, how have they known each other, is everyone working full-time, how relevant their experience. If you started something in cosmetics business or in psychology, do you have a co-founder who has the experience in cosmetics or psychology? And also it's very valuable to add advisors here. I mean, if you attracted very early stage somebody who is a professional in their field and has a name, it's a good sign you can attract talent to your team further. So make sure you put your advisors, your mentors, big names here, again, to build the trust. And the final is, what do you want? As you see on the funny GIF, assume me. So do not assume that if you just send your presentation, the people on the other side will understand what they want, what you want from them. Don't assume anything in any negotiation or communication. Just tell them straightforward, I need this money for this, or if you can't do it, please introduce me to people you think it's relevant. I guess I'm very short on time, so I'm gonna come through the 3 slides, final slides, very quickly. I want to talk about verbal communication. I mean, all of us, not just send investment pitches, we have to communicate them. And probably most of you have already pitched it a few times on the stages. I would like to mention that the 3 main things that are very important, it's emotional beginning. I mean, you can add it to your investment slides, and you also can mention it, just, some insights that I haven't thought about it, some facts that are kind of astonishing, something I want to tweet after I talk to you. It helps to make me remember you and remember about your product if you connect with me with the emotions. Again, the presentation is about convincing, about the trust. Make sure within few seconds that I kind of trust you, I can relate to you as my business partner, whether it's through the email or whether it's communication face to face. Even if you're doing a great product and you have a large market, unfortunately, if I don't like the way you smell or the way you say something, or I can't hear you because you have very low voice, I wouldn't do business with you. It matters a lot about, like, non-verbal communications is 90% of all communication. So make sure you look upon it. and be prepared. Again, most of the pitches nowadays is up to 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and then you have 5 to 10 minutes for questions. And if you've done the brilliant presentation or pitch, but you don't have answers to your questions, it's a fail. Or if you're not prepared to say something in case you don't have an answer, it's gonna fail. What I do is I have this Excel, like Google Doc or Excel sheet, where I add all the questions I got from anywhere on my product or on my business, and then I prepare the answers for that. And you know, this list is like never ending. You can fill it in whenever I have new questions, and most of the questions always repeat. So you're gonna have a ready-made document you can refer to before preparation, before the pitching, to kind of prepare for the questions after pitch. And again, don't worry. I mean, me and Elena has established this company because we've seen great founders with great products, but who are just first comers to this market. I've been in a situation. I mean, I have no mentors, and I was not from startup scene, but I really believe in my product. And unfortunately, I had to do it on my own, which took me like a year to understand what to say, how to make it relevant for person, what to include in my investment pitch, how to pitch. And if I had somebody who helped me do it faster and took my hand and, you know, lead me to right investors and with the right words, I would use it. It's just there were nobody around me, and at that time probably there were no even companies that could help. But it's a great thing when you have somebody to help you. And Elena has established a great consulting company with lots of network of with a great network of investors, and we got this, you know, super cool offer for you. Elena will talk about it with a huge feedback from investors on the pitches. Only 20 people we got it.
So Anna, 1 second. I wanted to ask a question before we start Q&A. Can I? Guys, I wanted to ask you a question. First question is, did you find this material useful, and would you change something in your pitch deck upon listening to this? Or you would have the same pitch deck you had before? Would you change your pitch deck after our presentation? Okay, great. Very happy to see that you found some good feedbacks. And one more question. You see that there should be so many details, such a huge amount of information in the pitch deck. How many pages do you think you need to have in your pitch deck, maximum? Five. Super.
It's cool.
Maybe 14.
But you know, me and Elena has been working with investors a lot, like many of them. And honestly, one analyst got like 20 to 40 pitch decks sometimes a day. And sometimes 5 is such a refreshment for them. So I believe 5 is great.
If you can manage to put everything in 5 slides, do you think it's possible, Anna?
It depends on the stage of the company, but again, you have, well, let's refer to the goals of the presentation itself. Most often the investor hasn't seen you yet, and you just send it via email. So your goal is to inform and to make them kind of notice you and, you know, like you and say, okay, I want to talk to you on the details. Can you elaborate on this and that? Can you tell me more? So 5 is enough to get interested, but not enough to make an informed decision on something on the next stage.
I would say how we work, we recommend you guys to have a 1-pager that summarizes your project as a first step, and then a pitch deck. And we suggest it to be 10 slides, right?
7 to 10, yeah.
Not more. So you need to be conscious about it, and you need to feel pity for investors who read so many materials, and to be as short as possible. Okay.
So ready for Q&A, I guess. You can ask any questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer.
So we have a first question already. Which are the most common mistakes in the pitching deck?
It's too much information and too many words, and it's very complicated to understand. So again, imagine you're pitching or presenting to a 10-year-old, somebody who is very kind of early stage in the understanding of business or any industry. Make sure that your younger brother, sister, somebody who is 10-year-old understands what you do and why you do it. And if he can understand, then you have a great presentation. If he doesn't, something wrong with it. So yeah, make sure it's simple, concise in design, in presentation itself, and use as little words and information as possible.
It would have been very valuable to see a sample of presentation, a successful and not successful one.
Well, I would have to stop the screen, I guess, to do that. But let's do it. I will show it after the event, after we're done with the main part.
Okay, for those of you guys who want to see the samples, please stay a bit longer. We will show you the samples, but it will be after everything else. What financial return metrics do investors want to see in the deck? IRR and PV, MOIC.
What I said, like, it depends on the industry you're working in. If you can show an IRR already, great. If not, just show how many users you have, how many of them are active. If you're already selling something, show what the average check and what's your conversion from user to paying user, like something very simple that gives them a brief understanding what amount of money they need to put into a startup to grow it to the next stage. I mean, it all can be valued through metrics, through conversions.
And how do you suggest to start? Do you suggest to start with financial model and then do a presentation then?
No, financial model is also already like a next stage. If the investor is interested, he will ask for your financial model. I think is the stage number 3. First the presentation, they got interested, then they talk to you via face-to-face or a call, and then they ask you for financials.
Yes, but for example, when startup is doing a pitch deck, he needs to gather some financial data as well, right?
Yes. I mean, any company has to understand their financials.
Okay, but very simple. Don't build financial model before the presentation.
Again, depends on the stage of the company. The companies I worked with, they were stage like A, B rounds. So for sure they needed financial. Moreover, they needed consolidated financials, consolidated cash flow reports, P&L, because they have multiple offices in multiple countries. So they had to show their revenue, their growth of costs, revenues, their capex, goodwill. It depends on the stage, I would say. If you just early stage, some metrics would be enough.
Any more questions, guys? Okay, no more questions. Let's go move to the offer then, and then to our surprise.
Yeah, we have a special offer here, Elena.
Yes, thank you very much. So guys, for you as a thank you offer, a special offer for those of you who came to our webinar, we have a special introductory package for 150 euros and only for 20 companies, because we cannot send too many, I would say, unchecked pitches to investors. So you need to have your one page ready. We will review it and give you feedback. And we will send it to 10 plus leading VCs in your sector and get their feedback. And we'll share the feedback with you. Moreover, we will personally introduce you to those investors who said that they want to know the company. So this offer is valid till 15th of June. So if you like it, please apply. Please write to me, to my email below. Or through Eventbrite as well, I will get it. Thank you very much. And now we have this offer, very special, kindly prepared by Anna. I will share it in the chat. Please download the template of investment presentation. So you can use this template to create your presentation. It shows you the slides and the content, so you can fill it in and have your presentation or pitch deck ready. So this was the special offer.
And you guys can see my contacts here. You can just, you know, point your phone camera on the QR code and you got the contacts saved to your contact book. And I will show you, as promised, some good and bad examples. I'm not sure I have bad though. Give me a spare moment.
And the books that Anna mentioned, I promised to send it to everyone. Please see also in the chat. They're writers that Anna recommended. So we are basically done. So if you still want to see the samples, please stay. If you don't want to see the samples, we are ready to.
This is a round company. It's they created a test for like genetics test and microbiome test. It's probably like it's something very, you know, advanced. I would say it's not the first pitch. It's something you would send to investor who invests or looking for average investment size of 5 to 10 million. So they have executive summary, the mission, the team, market. Again, there's not many words. It's more about graphs. You can see the landscapes. So, I mean, who are the investors who also invest in genetics and why? Kind of to provoke your investor to think that he's among them. The problem, the solution, they showed the product because it's ready and it's on market in more than one market. They showed the business model. So you can see their cost margins, what involved in the cost, why they're better, some competition, these competitive advantages written here. The microbiome test, I mean, this is about genetics, this is about microbiome test. They show their largest competitor here as well. Then they show how that all works. It's kind of a, you know, it's to understand more about the business model. And the app, again, about business model, whom they sell into, what they sell into. More elaboration on that. And basically why they're unique. It's all about who's going to buy their product and what they gather and why it's valuable. So it's about database. Of course, genomics database is very interesting for pharmaceutical companies. It's about the database value, and they gave some examples. They also showed their corporate clients. R&D, well, it's a comprehensive, big, you know, presentation for a B round company. The geographical expansion and the kind of what they are interested, what they are looking for. They were looking for $7 million investment.
And why do we have 21 pages there if we recommended to have 10?
Well, 10 is good for a first pitch, but if you're talking with, somebody, if you pitched, for example, on the stage and then somebody's asking for your information, can you send me some kind of presentation about yourself? If you're later stage, I prefer to send these kind of presentations because they can give more valuable information. And if you're later stage company, you probably have something more to show. I will show you some shorter examples now, just a sec. It's just the presentation I like. And they raised, so it was a good one. Let me check. Here you go, oh no.
We have a question if we can share price point idea for market study in the US.
Price point idea for market study. You mean market research?
Yes.
Well, it depends. I mean, the market research usually costs, if we Google it, about $1,000 or to $3,000.
Market value.
What do I mean by market? I don't see. Let me check. Can you share price point idea for market study in US? You mean market research? I mean, if you do you want to order a market research for some industry, for market potential, or you're talking about educational market? Oh, food industry. Well, again, if you Google it, you can see some price points in meters. It's I mean, we charge different amounts depending on the. I think it's confidential, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, from 1 to 3,000, depending on how do you want to make research, whether it involves customer development, whether it involves talking to real people, whether it involves some, competitors, in-depth research. Yeah, this one also raised. Just 1 second, I'll share it. Come on. Do you see the screen? It's a promo board. It's a robotics company. So the vision again, what they make, about the product, the cases, and this is the industries they work in. The traction, they expanded to 33 countries already through distributors. Pretty great expansion. Their operations, some metrics, numbers. Again, they're a later stage company, so they have something to show. Competitive landscape, and where they're going to. So the market is huge. What they have is IP. Basically, it's all about robotics, like frameworks, artificial intelligence. So you have to show what you got. They showed some roadmap pipeline, what they're going to do and what they have done so far, because they produce the robots. and they asking money for their production lines and some projections of financials, the team, and what they're looking for, the investment proposal for somebody who is interested, and the contacts. That's it. Let me show one more. It's a bigger one. Again, it's a later stage. There are more than 10 slides, but they could have done it in 10 slides. It's a KYC ML solution, know your client. So the summary, why they're big, mission summary, the problem, the solution they have. I think it's the repeat. No, it's not the repeat. The products, they show it. If you can show the product via video or like a snapshot, it's great. Just put it there, so visualize it. Again, the product, how that works, the scheme, what the underlying process is, again, how that works. The partners, this is about trust. They put huge names, big names, to show that they're working with the big companies already. Market drivers, it's about the market again, about the business model. So you can see some tractions here, like total revenue, unique verifications, 5 million, booked revenue, 50% for 2020, already in 2019. Some competitive advantages. What they don't have here, but what we have added is competitive research. Like we showed what our competitors are and why we're better. Again, some competitive advantage. The clients, who are the clients? Big names again, BlaBlaCar, Uber, Paysend. The pipeline, where they head into, team, advisory board, that's what I talked about. If you have somebody who is cool, who's working with you or mentoring you, put it on the slide. And that's it. Pretty, long ones, but it's the only one I can find right now. But if you're earlier stage, unfortunately, I don't have someone from seed round. 7 to 10 slides is more than enough, because you're just mostly talking about market opportunity. And what you're going to do. There is nothing else to show, basically. And what the investor is interested mostly is the traction. So you can elaborate on that as much as possible.
And what I can add, guys, since you are seed stage and it's a difficult time now, it's COVID, right? And we had recently a few investors panels. It's very hard to raise money for first-time entrepreneurs. If you didn't have exit experience before, it will be very difficult for you to raise money. So this advisory board can be a good option to find some people who had already exits and who could be your advisors and who you can put on the advisory board. Then investors will look into you more deeply, because if you don't have exits, I think it's very difficult, especially nowadays, to raise anything. What do you think, Anna?
Yes, I believe so, but I mean, you're always going to be first comer in one point. So anyways, it can't leave you from trying. And there you have to read about the investors you're going to talk to beforehand, because they all focus on different stages. If there is somebody who's focusing on pre-seed or seed, they're fine with you being just somebody who's just started and haven't got the entrepreneurial experience before. And if you have an industry experience, it's sometimes even more valuable. And you can show that you are kind of entrepreneurial through that experience, that you have done some projects on your own in the company, for example. And besides, you can go through accelerator process. There are a lot of accelerators that are going to help you without even taking a capital. And I mean, Experience matters. Investors value it because probably you failed before, so you're not going to fail this time. And the more you fail, the better. But again, it shouldn't stop you from talking to somebody or raise investment.
What I say is that it's good if you can have some advisory board members, more senior advisory board members. It will help you tremendously.
Oh, of course, yeah. In any time, yeah. Whether you have experience in startups or not, it's a great value.
Yeah, especially if you're a first-time entrepreneur, right? Basically, if I would be a startup, I would definitely do it because getting an advisory board member is relatively easy, I would say, and it increases your credibility a lot. That's my opinion, at least. Okay, we have questions. Can you please share some common feedback from VCs for PowerPoints that were not successful? And also, can you please share rough amounts typically raised in pre-seed and seed?
Let me start with the second one. So it's different in different countries. In the UK, the pre-seed is about up to £150,000, and the seed is up to 1 million. In the US, the amounts are larger, I believe. I'm not really familiar with the market, but I heard from my San Francisco guys that the pre-seed is up to 1 to sometimes 5 millions if we're talking about biotech companies. And the seed is probably the same amount, up to 5 million. Again, if we're talking about medical or pharmacies or biomed companies, the seed amount can get as high as 5 million. Feedback from, okay, about the were not successful PPTs. It's about having a structured way of telling the story about the company and why it matters what you do. So if you, again, give a lot of information, which is not really concise and applicable to what you do, it makes more questions than answers. That's a bad presentation. You can just Google, bad presentations examples, and you'll see a few. And again, it's better to have not very good presentations than not very good products. I know a lot of people who have excellent presentations, but in the end, what matters is can they deliver? Can their product deliver? And do they have any traction? How is an advisory board member usually awarded? Usually they have kind of a fee, and they also have either an option or a stake, like 1 to 3% stake in a company. Any other questions? Oh, I just realized I haven't put my camera on. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Yes, now you see me. Anyways, guys, you can email me or Elena if you have any questions. You can share your presentations and get the feedback. As Elena said, 21st comers will get free feedback from us and investors. We're going to show it to 10 most valuable investors in your industry and get back to you. So take this opportunity. It's great to have a feedback from somebody who's going to probably buy your company or invest in your company, and use every opportunity to pitch, to practice, and get a feedback. And thank you very much for your time. I guess if you don't have any questions, we're going to commence here, right?
Yeah, I think we can write it up. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and see you soon. Stay in touch, stay healthy, and hope that we're all unlocked very soon.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.